Very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Brief. It's a Friday edition of the program right here. We're broadcasting live from Nigeria's Commercial Nerve Center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Ozama, guys.
Yeah, successful landing. Good morning. Welcome to the Friday edition, and thank God it's Friday. What a week it's been. But we're here to guide you and guard you through all of the stories making headlines and make a sense of it. Welcome to your perfect morning starter. I am Bukola Kuka.
And I'm Kayode Okikulu. Sometimes I feel like Friday is a setup. It makes you feel like everything is over, but then it's actually the start of another thing, right? Because it's a reminder that next week is there, particularly for those who have deadlines. But hey, let's live in the moment and enjoy Friday.
It's a public holiday, so happy holidays. It's
Friday.
It's Good Friday, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's Good Friday. I had Easter Friday, so I was confused.
Well, you could call it that, actually. But for me, I just call it Easter Friday because there's Easter Sunday.
Okay.
Easter Saturday, Easter Friday, Easter Monday.
Anyway, well, the presidency has released a statement as to the whereabouts of the president. Since all of us were asking about why is the president not back since the incident of Plateau, as well as the incident in Benue and all of that. Well, Bayo said the president is gone to London, and he will be on his way back to Nigeria after the holidays. For me, the only reasons why all of this happens is, you know, the man is 73 years old. Perhaps, I don't know whether that's where he does his medicals. It's only in Nigeria that it's almost a crime for a leader to be sick, because the leaders themselves will not be truthful to the people as to what they are dealing with. I'm not saying he's sick. I'm just saying for the things that are happening in the country, for the leader of the country to still remain outside the country, it could only be for medical reasons. But that is not official. Those are just me thinking out loud because of the urgency of the importance of human life. Well, wish him well, but he has a responsibility to come back and face what he was voted for to do. I have a trouble. I've never understood Nigeria's kind of leadership when it comes to positional leadership, where I know this president has not visited anywhere killings have happened, just to even show empathy that, look, I understand how you feel. We're going to get this fixed one way or the other. And it looks like when you demand for some of these things, they'll say vice president. Is it the vice president we voted for? We voted for the president. That's what positional leadership, it just shows that level of empathy. Just imagine something happening in your area at that level that happens in Plateau, and the president shows up. Even if he doesn't do anything, that in itself boosts confidence in the people that we have a leader. But Nigeria is almost an aberration. People were slaughtered in Benue during Muhammadu Buhari's time. He did not show up. He sent the IGP there. IGP did not sleep over. He only said, oh, we didn't know IGP did not sleep over. This president, Bola Tinubu, 2 years down the line, has never visited anywhere where there's been one form of massacre or the other. He had rather gone to somewhere else and spoken about it. I don't understand this leadership at all. Guys.
Well, Jeffrey Akade, you began by saying today is Good Friday, and we all know what Good Friday represents. It's a day, you know, that without it in Christendom, we will not have Christianity. It is a day that symbolizes the foundation of what indeed Christianity represents. And I'm talking about the day that he went to the cross, that's our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and paid the ultimate price. He sacrificed. And, you know, that if there's any representation of what leadership should be, I think that should be it. And in this case, the leaders don't even have to go to die. They just have to show leadership. They just have to show some form of selflessness. And if there's any time, you know, that a president should cut short any form of rest, it would be now, you know, when it is most critical, when people have been, you know, killed, slaughtered, so to speak, when you hear the way people describe how those people were killed in their homes. So this will be the time that our leaders should show leadership, you know, and return home, empathize with the people, and provide some form of succor, and indeed intervene to the extent that you provide security and put an end, a definite end to this 2 decades of war, unprovoked war and attack on a people who are just going about their businesses and trying to live a normal life. And, you know, this is where, again, I refer to that video put out by whoever it is that put it out, showing Senator Shehu Sani, you know, admonishing his people, you know, to in turn to speak to the others who may be involved in this form of, criminal activity, kidnapping, banditry. And this is where, we must also speak to northern leaders. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, who is known to have a cult-like following, who has great influence, indescribable influence in the north, to join in this, fray and address the people who are doing this. And this is where we remember, the press conference by northern elders speaking to the killings of northern people across the country. We might also want to remind them about the 10-year insurgency in the north. Who are those killing the northerners in the north? They might want to also address that very important question as well. In Zamfara State, who are those involved in banditry and kidnapping of their own people? So the northern elders must address this. Former President Muhammadu Buhari, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, and all the other, Arewa Consultative Forum, they should speak to their people. This is no one, doing any form of ethnic profiling. It appears to be an ethnic group profiling itself, giving itself this name that is unwholesome. Nigerians want to live in harmony, whether they're in the north or in the south. They want to live with their own neighbors in unity. And this is the time that our leaders must indeed show leadership. Kadi.
I just want to add that there are those who would have been all about the place now if it was another party in power, if the roles were flipped, if the PDP were in power and the APC was the opposition. There are people who would be about town, about the media, speaking on the insecurity, telling the government that it's doing a terrible job at it, particularly for those areas that have been attacked. The president's foreign trip, for example, and there are those who will have gone about town saying, this doesn't look like the president is serious. Why is he out there? He's made at least 5 trips this year alone, twice to France, Tanzania, UAE, Ghana. We don't even want to go to 2024 or 2023. Consistently on the pages of the dailies, online, they would have been there, playing opposition in that sense. But now that the roles have been flipped, the same people are in the ruling party, in government.
Giving excuses.
Their mom. They are loudly mom. I just want them to reflect on this today because we know how opposition was played then. So what is not right is not right. Whether or not you're a party person, I think it's important to understand that Nigeria is the big picture. And you find in other climes, people disagree with the president in their party and they come out to speak about it. Why? Because their conscience and, of course, their love for their country overrides whatever it is. If there is no Nigeria, forget it, there will be no party to even say, I'm a party man. No. So I think it's important for people to come out and look at these issues dispassionately and speak to it, whether you're in the APC, the PDP, or Labour Party. Let us speak truth to power.
I must also thank what happened yesterday. Nibe Effiong, the lawyer who's got that boy out. Is he Alabi Quadri? We're going to talk to them maybe sometime in the future. We must thank him. It just shows the level of decay that goes on in some of our forces in the Nigerian police force, where somebody just framed and the police played complicity and is asking that the commissioner of police fires the DPO and the inspector who framed a 17-year-old boy or connived with people to put that boy in prison for that long and all of that, demanding for ransom. But I must thank the lawyers and the activists especially who raised that concern, and the lawyers moved in to get that boy out. And now the boy has to leave, get out of his neighborhood, getting support because, and all of that. But that's for another day. Let's talk about what people are talking about today on the program. Yes. You guys have been speaking. I think we've talked about a lot of things that are quite almost depressing. Let's go to the cheery side. Let's get started on the cheery note this time. Yabo Jo's daughter, for those of you who don't know Yabo Jo, she's a Nigerian actress, she's a producer, she's many things in one. Her daughter got married to, that's the daughter, Priscilla, got married to a Tanzanian musician. The top, let's add that part, in the top Tanzanian musician. I don't know his name, what's his name again?
Jukes.
Is it Jude or Prince?
Can you help us with the full name?
Why can't I don't get it.
Anyway, it was a beautiful scene.
Juma Jukes, yes. Juma Jukes.
That's the beautiful cake, the environment, and everything. Woo and Woo was there.
And it was a colorful event, to say the least. All shades of traditional attire, all designs of the traditional attire.
Yeah.
And, you know, Yabojo's colleagues came out, you know, with an army to support one of their own. And indeed, we also saw a number of politicians there as well. The governor of Osun State was there to also support the couple and the actress. It was a beautiful event to behold.
It reminds me of that. Kayode, what's that thing they do in your states? What's that?
Wait a minute, why are we targeting Kayode?
No. I just remember. Okay, it's both of them.
Tell us about it.
No, the one they do in Ijebu.
Ah, the Ojude Oba.
When is it again?
Are you planning?
Yeah, we're going this year. This year we're Ijebu people. It's December.
I believe it's.
Is it December?
It's usually towards the Muslim,
Salah,
the Muslim festival.
So sorry. Okay, June. Okay, Ogun people expect us. This year we're Yoruba people. We're
this year Jeffrey has become Yoruba.
We're Ijebu people on this. We must show up on a horse.
And you know, watching this, you just want to maybe get married again. Or just go through that whole process. And it's great to see the support from the online attendees. You know,
online in-laws.
Yeah, a lot of people attended online all through watching. All the angles. They didn't get the small chops or other things, but they attended online. And we
were just content to watch online. I watched online as well.
Okay, let's get to what the people are saying.
The color and all of the love.
I think I like this tweet. They are just shorts. People are just excited. Moses Oyakilome says, beautiful couples. As simple as that.
And Magnix Cosmicalian says, congratulations to them.
So it's all congratulatory messages. And we just wanted to give you some cherry news today. It's Friday, so it's beautiful to see Lord Markle saying happy marriage life. So I know it's happy married life, Lord Markle, but it's okay, we get the point.
Exactly.
You're just trying to wish them the very, very best. It was good to see Diamond Platinums in Nigeria as well. The bouncer lady that was with him was very interesting to see. Give me a space.
Give me a space. I don't want to use anybody.
It was beautiful to see.
We'll go to the next one where the presidency was spoken about this. Those were our first thoughts. Tinubu remains engaged in governance from Europe. Will return after Easter. Nobody's saying he can't stay anywhere to run the country, but when the country is burning, that's not acceptable. Joseph is saying he should take his time. Is this sarcasm? Why the rush to come back to Nigeria? The world is a global village, so governance can take place anywhere. Okay.
Of course, that's a huge dose of sarcasm. Serkin Yeriki Bello says Nigerians have really suffered in the hands of bad leaders. When does this end? Well, we can't say that enough, can we?
James Feets is the next saying, remains engaged. He's a president for goodness sake. This headline caption is worrisome. A man who should be at the forefront. The CNC, that's Commander-in-Chief, remains engaged in an affair. He should actually preside over his primary responsibility. I imagine you're saying maybe he's engaged outside the country, but you say that he should be presiding over his primary responsibility, which is safety of lives and property. But see the carnage.
All right, Kayode, I think we'll go over to the statement we understand is credited to the Minister of Power.
Yeah.
I think they had a forum yesterday, the briefing, where it said 150 million Nigerians now have access to adequate electricity. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think what is more interesting is his report about the progress that the power sector has made. The Ministry of Power being that there's now been an increase in power generation to about 5,800 megawatts of electricity, the highest so far. Of course, we're going to be scrutinizing that progress report, but it's significant to note that that is what the Ministry of Power is reporting at this point in time. We're going to weigh that, of course, with this tariff regime, cost-reflective tariff, all of those issues. Jeffrey is on Band A. He keeps complaining about being on Band A. Are you on Band A as well? So we're also going to give the Minister of Power progress report about the impact of the policy reforms under his ministry on the people. So get ready for that conversation. It's very important to have it. But what are you saying? Kayode, you want to start off on that one?
Let's go to Prince Nick Ogwas saying, access to electricity on paper doesn't always translate to real impact. Many Nigerians still face erratic power supply, high costs, and unreliable infrastructure. As she says, until consistent and affordable electricity reaches every home and business, the reality on ground doesn't reflect the numbers. Just to say that, having that conversation with the National Secretary of the APC, who said, well, electricity generation is expensive. That just gives you a sense of where we are headed to. There you go.
You know, when they're empowered, they always have excuses, and they have a way to defend anything, whether it's good or bad. Anyway, let's move on to the dailies, guys. The dailies is where Nigerian News Direct. Insecurity. Tinubu's commitment to his duties remains unwavering. Presidency defends foreign stay. The Riders says Tinubu in London after Paris trip, issuing directives to security chiefs, discloses that President will return to Abuja after Easter holiday. I think we've said enough about this. I stand to say that except the President's health is having a challenge, he has no business being anywhere else apart from the country he was voted to lead. And I'll say it again, he has no business except on the grounds of health. So all of this makes no sense to an average Nigerian because it's called positional leadership for a reason. Just your presence alone does something to confidence building. That is what we will continue to tell these leaders. It's important, in case nobody tells you, because sometimes I feel that some of these leaders, without making excuses for them, people around them lie to them a lot. And sometimes I wonder how they're able to see between the lie and the truth. That's why we need very discerning minds in leadership. Guys, the next one is Nigerian Tribune, right?
Indeed. Nigerian Tribune is up next, and, you know, it comes with the same headline. Presidency defends Tinubu's foreign stay amid criticism over insecurity. Says President now in London. You'll find details, of course, on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And you see a very interesting picture also on the front page there of the Nigerian Tribune. That's former President Muhammadu Buhari, I believe, and someone is paying homage to him. It looks to me like that would be the President of the African Development Bank, Akinwumi Adesina. There's been you know, a number of visits to the home of the former president in recent times. I hope that there's also some truth-telling that is also ongoing during those visits about what is exactly happening in the country and how there's a need for intervention from all leaders, past or present. Well, that's it from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, but there are some other interesting stories that may catch your attention. At the top of the nameplate, you find CBEX, illegal, unlicensed digital asset exchange. The Securities and Exchange Commission is speaking there. And on the front page as well, at the bottom of the picture, you find gunmen attack Natasha's family house in Kogi. That's very worrying. You find details on page 16. We hope that you know, that will be addressed. Of course, there's a writer there that says investigation has begun. It's been ascribed to the police, maybe the police command in Kogi State. But you'll find details on the on page 10 rather, of the Nigerian Tribune. That's it from the Tribune. Let's
now turn our attention to the Guardian newspaper. By the way, that picture on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune got a lot of people talking with the footrest of former President Buhari that had the map of Nigeria and the flag on it. You know, so I'm saying, why would you put the map of Nigeria and the flag on a footrest and put your foot on it? But you know, it's some of the gifts he must have gotten. But take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. This focuses on AI threat or opportunity. Very interesting headline, a departure from well, the others. You see schools and teachers cite concerns. That's the Guardian newspaper. Search for academic integrity. And there's a cartoon that shows what students do and how teachers respond to it. I think this is more opportunity than it is a threat. I think everything has that threat dimension to it. But I think we should see it more as an opportunity and leverage it as much as we can. But it's not to take away the rigor of, you know, that intellectual rigor that you're meant to have in school. Some will say even elevates it. But let's leave that debate out there. That's a big picture on the front page of the Guardian newspaper for you this morning. A couple of more stories there. But there's something on Good Friday. It's Good Friday. Yeah, just in case you may have not noticed. You see, seemingly ceaseless crucifixion of Nigeria. It's an editorial piece on page 12 of the Guardian newspaper. So it's a way to just sort of celebrate Good Friday, but also speak to some of the realities on ground. Let's leave it there for the Guardian.
Okay, so that's the much we can take as far as the front page of the dailies is concerned. I think today makes it exactly 1 month or so since the declaration of the state of emergency. Rather than see closure, we're seeing protests. But we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the very first conversation. That has to do with what's going on in the power sector. There's a big claim by the Minister of Power, Mr. Adelabu, said about 150 or so million Nigerians now have his words adequate. That's what I read, adequate. I don't know. Welcome back. Let's talk about the power sector. The minister has been making statements during the briefing that happened yesterday. And if there's any sector that has defied literally every government, is the power sector in terms of electricity generation. Now, the current government had actually decentralized a few things where states now have the capacity to do everything the federal government does at the state level. But not all states are ready for it. Some have done that. They've handed over to their own state Electricity Regulatory Commission, and some are in the works. That's the effort of the government to see how this can be decentralized as much as possible. But power is still a big challenge. If you talk about availability, accessibility, pricing, and cost, that is really eating deep into Nigerians' pocket. But let's bring in the Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Power, a member representing Lavon Idati Mokwa Federal Constituency in Niger State, also a member of the National Institute in Kurujos. Dr. Joshua Ghana. Mr. Ghana, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be here.
All right, let's begin with your quick reaction, because you, since you are a member of the subcommittee, you oversight that sector. The minister has made a big claim that the average Nigerian will say maybe it's a lie, but you do the oversight work, so you have empirical data. 150 million Nigerians now have access to adequate electricity. I want your reaction to that statement.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, based on the statistics that they use to see most of the load centers that will have available power in the distribution network from transmission, speaks to most of the urban areas that are connected. And when you check their population status, it presupposes that about 150 million people will have access to it. Now, access doesn't mean that power is in everybody's house at that same time, but that if they get connected through their distribution companies, those who have settled disconnection fees and all the other local issues have the opportunity to have available power restored to their locations. So it might be, 150 million might be over the top in my own opinion, but I'm sure he was speaking to statistics given by his staff who report the amount of power given to different load centers around the country.
Okay, so now that that's out of the way, one of the things I would like us to dig deep into, because we're still going to probe that as well. I don't believe it, but he has said it. Because when you're talking about 150, Nigeria's population of an average of 200 million, if we get 150 people having adequate electricity, then we will not be complaining. That has covered literally a major part of the country. So that data sounds more political than empirical to me, but I'm not going to debate it since I don't have a counter argument for him at the moment. But let's talk about the one that really eats deep into the fabric of Nigerians, and that has to do with the cost of electricity. right now, for the people that have it, there are two complaints. The complaint of, especially those on Band A, I'm on Band A, I'm also complaining that it's too expensive. On the second part is the fact that when you are even on this Band A, you don't have enough electricity as promised. The promise was, I think, 20 or 22 hours per day. That's the average you should get, but you get less than that, and then you're still charged on Band A. So as a committee in the House of Representatives, how is the committee taking the issue of complaints about the high cost of electricity? He's defending to the effect that the sector needs money, and they've been able to generate, I think, 700 billion or so last year alone, and that has really shored up a few things for them. But the customers, consumers like us, are at the receiving end, and it's no longer comfortable.
Okay, yes. It's no longer comfortable because in the past, power was subsidized. There was a power subsidy fund, but during this administration, most of those things that have been under subsidy have been removed. So from the petroleum subsidy was removed, power subsidy was removed, and so that brought about the cost going down to the customer. But it's clear that the tariff regime we are in is what we call the cost-reflective tariff regime, where the cost of fuel, the cost of capacity, the energy costs are all passed through the system to the distribution company to make collections for power delivered to people. And so the policy document that was being driven at the time was to say there are certain areas where the equipment, all through from fuel to generation to transmission to distribution and going to the end users, the installations are all in good shape. Why don't you prioritize those people and put them on a certain band because they are willing and able to pay for power and not go to a second source of power? So that was the policy drive that led, and it was an agreement of the Ministry of Power with distribution companies to say, for where you have said you have good equipment and you can deliver uninterrupted power, can you go to those customers and tell them within this amount of hours per day, I can give you uninterrupted power, but pay me this cost-effective tariff. And I assure you that within 24 hours, within 2 to 4 hours, we might just have some downtime, which are things that have to be properly managed. People have to understand how power works. If you don't have sustainable source of fuel, and your fuel goes down to change to another source of fuel, you're going to have downtime in power. And so that was accounting for the 2 to 4 hours, because shutting down a power plant that is gas-fired takes a lot of time to cool down, and then you're ramping up from another location, another power plant to resupply the power that's just gone down from maybe a gas-fired power plant that was being turned down, and maybe a hydroelectric one is coming up. So with that time of exchange is what accounts for the downtime in power. So, but even I am on Band A, and yes, it is a bite, and before it becomes something that people would understand, even I am affected by Band A. And I'm going through what every Nigerian who's on Band A with the cost-reflective tariff. We must be able to pay for power is the principle that they are guiding. Nigerians have been used to, in time past, Nigerian government subsidizing the power or power given free to them in order to pacify Nigerians. That advent has begun to shut down, and we're coming to an advent where we must pay for the cost-reflective tariff in order to pay for power. Now, the cost of fuel, if you're saying gas-fired power plants, the cost of fuel is in dollars. And you can imagine the inflation and the exchange rate issues that we have for the cost of fuel. Then the cost of generation. 1 megawatt installation of power for a power plant now is nearly $2 million per megawatt hour, but you can say in the range of $1.7, $1.8 million to a megawatt hour. Then the cost of even transporting power, just the right of ways from the location of being, because in the principle of power, locating a power plant is nearness to source of fuel, and then you transport from there to the population centers. So population centers might be a bit far off, given our national grid network. And so before you have the right of ways through people's communities all the way to your tie-in centers, you have a lot of compensations to pay. And then even during the time of construction, you have all sorts of vandals stealing the steel that is being installed. Many times the minister will have to send the military to go and be on daily guard. Those are costs that were not envisaged, but because you have to guard the Nigerian assets, the civil defense is there, the military is there to guard those assets until the contractor is able to finish building the transmission line and connect. And so these are issues that take time. We plead with Nigerians to be patient. As we generate income, I'm sure there will be more output of power to our people.
I'm glad you mentioned those challenges, sir. And this is where I'd like you to, if possible, do a reality check for this proclaimed achievements under this administration in the power sector. Yes, it's a good thing that we're recording 1,800 megawatts, but as Jeffrey has said, is what is being generated, what is being transmitted in reality, and that will be where the result is. And the claim that past administrations were only able to have not been able to increase record power generation of megawatts in 35 years may not be entirely true if you consider that under former President Goodluck Jonathan, I believe in 2015, there was installed generation capacity of about 9,000 megawatts. But what was transmitted was maybe significantly lower than that at that time, but perhaps higher than what is being transmitted now. So I'd like you to speak to that buck passing, so to speak, about blaming past administrations for the challenges in the power sector when you consider collapsed power grids that we've recorded record number of times under this administration. I'd like you to do some reality check, if possible.
Okay. Past administrations have also done very well in investing in the power sector. We have had competent people in charge of the power sector, and there was significant investment also to resolve the problems. Where I see the gaps that we suffer from, it was because of the number of agencies that were involved in their development. The coordination at the time was not well managed. For instance, you are locating gas-fired power plants at different locations in Nigeria, and those locations do not have ready gas facilities to inject gas into those generation plants. Now, the lead time to build a gas-fired power plant is about 3 years. And so within 3 years, it's expected that from whatever gas source or gas field, the gas pipelines are being built to that location within the same time that, you know, that plant will be ready to be fired and start delivering power to the grid. So at the same time, the Transmission Company of Nigeria should be also building transmission lines so that power could be wheeled out and evacuated to the load centers for distribution, to the distribution networks to be sold. And so there was no coordination as such, because coordinating all these things at the same time was a very huge investment. Imagine building gas pipelines at the same time, building a power plant at the same time. You're trying to get right-of-ways for transmission lines, and you're building the transmission lines. Then the substations that this heavy-duty power will be fed into before it is stepped down to lower capacities of transformers to be distributed for sales. All that takes quite a lot of time. So I would say there was no coordination at the time to ensure that by the time a gas pipeline is being finished, the source of fuel is, they have cleaned up the gas that they are getting from the oil well or from the gas field, and is being fed into that system. The receiving station is ready to pump it into the power station that is being finished. They have tested and fired some of the gas turbines to say they are strong enough. It meets the capacity to sell. And then the transmission lines also are ready to take it and evacuate it to where power will be sold. So I don't know why in detail, because I've been to the field for oversight, and when we ask the different contractors, are you people discussing with each other? Are you within the time you're supposed to be paid and deliver this? Is before this power plant is built and finished? And when you hear the different answers, we take these reports back, and as Parliament, we sound out our warnings to the executive to say there seems not to be any coordination,
well, Honorable,
and the deliverables on these contracts will not meet the timelines that Nigerians are waiting for. Now, imagine it's a 4-year tenure for every administration, and it takes 3 years to build a power plant. Before you solve the other balance of plant issues, your 4 years is over.
And another administration. And that speaks to some of the deep challenges of the power sector. And it's very important to unbundle the issues, right? So we're able to really understand where our challenges lie and how we need to tackle them. But for the everyday Nigerian, it is as simple as, well, we elected a government, or a government is in place, in any case, to ensure that these things are sorted, right? So it shouldn't really be my headache. My headache should be paying for power and having power, not having palpitations that it will soon take power, as is now the case. But I want to go back to the earlier issue that we started with the Minister of Power. Again, understanding the position he's in, every word he says would normally be attacked, because people will pour the frustration they are feeling with power supply into whatever he says naturally. That's what it just means, being in that position. But when he says that 150 million Nigerians have access to power and that 80 million do not have adequate access to power in Nigeria, there are questions about the population figures. Are we 240 million indeed? But what I want you to speak to is this. There have been research and reports that show that either about between 40 and 75% of Nigerians rely on generator for power generation. Okay. So even if you account for that data, and it really messes up the 150 million that the minister is putting out there, you get, because 50% is already 100 million of Nigerians already that don't have access to power. So I want you to speak to the data that you have based on the work that you do, and that's where I'm going to. By the way, Nigerians listening out there, if you want to let us know your power situation, if you have access, you can send your message to our WhatsApp line. We have a WhatsApp line, by the way, which you'll see on your screen, right? But I want you to speak to the data you have. Is it 140 million? Yeah, that's the WhatsApp number. Let us know. Do you have access to power, as the minister said? Then we'll aggregate it and then put it out there. So let us know. Send us a message on this line. But Minister, Honorable, what data do you have?
Okay. I don't have a figure that I would like to quote at this point. But what I would like to say is, because of the different programs that are ongoing to provide power to communities. For instance, the Rural Electrification Agency has a World Bank supported funded program to give captive power to different communities. All right, so these are people that if they wait in the queue to get connected to their local distribution networks, the local distribution companies that have been taken over do not have the funding to invest for expansion. So there are agreements between the distribution companies and those that are being licensed by Rural Electrification Agency to build solar, what we call the mini-grid systems, so that local communities can have power. Those mini-grids are usually handed over to the distribution companies, but are managed within the time that the investment is in, and the local licensee or contractor has put in the investment and recouped his money. So I think it's a 70-30 model that they're using, where the World Bank funds account for 70%, and then the local investor comes up with 30%. So that's going on around the country. Communities that we know that distribution companies will not be able to expand their power to. That's where these mini grids are being located, and taking the daylight and sunlight in solar systems to give power to those communities. And then they now interconnect with the local grid. So because that is ongoing, and there are different locations, the calculations of those communities and the numbers of Nigerians getting power in those locations, in addition to the reach in the load centers where distribution companies are able to reach, that's what is accounting for the amount of population. I think 150 million might be on the high side, but of course, you know, in statistics, there are projections. So maybe in their projections, that knowing how many installations have been finished and on stream, that they feel up to 150 million Nigerians have access to it. But some might have not been connected to those local mini-grid systems as we speak. So I would say we as a parliament, we can engage with some of the consultants in the sector to say, let's go around and have more fact-finding on the statement on the minister. And that's our role during our oversight visits. So I can come back to Nigerians probably later when we start our oversight to report back to them that having gone round the different states, as the budget provisions will allow the parliament to, we can reconfirm that the number the minister said is factual or is estimated, and just projections from the calculations of total installations of mini-grids around the country.
Honorable, apparently you are eyes and ears, so we'll hold you to that. And we thank you for coming on the program. Dr. Joshua Ghana, Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Power, member representing Lavon Dati Mokwa Federal Constituency in Niger State, also a member of the National Institute in Kurujos. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll switch gears to the politics of Anambra State. In November, the people of Anambra will be heading out to the polls, and they have two choices, either to re-elect Chukwuma Soludo or send him packing and get someone else. So there are people or candidates who have emerged from literally as many political parties as are available in that state to field candidates. One of the candidates will be joining us in just a moment to tell us exactly how she got the ticket and what's the plan ahead. Join us again.
So we're counting down to the election in Anambra State, governorship election, and as Jeffrey said, the people have two choices, really, to maintain status quo or to seek to change that status quo. And that's why we have other candidates who are vying for that #1 seat in Anambra State, southeast Nigeria. We have one of them joining us on the program, as you've seen, the AAC governorship candidate in Anambra State, Chioma Ifemeludike, and she joins us live from Awka, the Anambra State capital, virtually this morning. You're welcome to the morning brief. Just be sure you can hear me. Good morning. It's great to see you in that, well, iconic orange beret. So good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So let's get right into it. For a lot of people, they know you as a producer, an actress, and now they're seeing you. They're probably thinking, is this for real? But you say you are ready. So walk us through what changed for you. What was that moment that you thought, you know what, let me escalate the work I do into governance and really battle for the #1 seat in Anambra State?
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to take it back to school days, my uni days. I was a unionist. Yes. So having had that first-hand experience of what it means to be a student activist, I was in tune to knowing, the nitty-gritty of governance and how to engage government. And also because I studied political science, and when you study such courses, it's all about governance. So, but for me at that time, it wasn't leadership. It was engaging government as a student, speaking up for things that weren't going right and standing up for people that couldn't speak for themselves. Yeah, and through that time, I continued with my career because acting has always been my first love, and I've done it gracefully. I mean, I've got the talent. So, and then also I ventured into producing. But in the course of all of this, I've been also very vocal. I've joined civil rights organizations. I've volunteered. I've been on the street protesting, the NSAS protest. It's very active. And everyone that knows me knows that I'm very connected to the plight of the people. But recently I became partisan. I joined the African Action Congress way back in 2019, but I was just an ardent supporter of Omoyele Sowore, the then presidential candidate of our party. So I was a follower. I loved his work. I resonated with his ideology and message. I followed keenly. And then last year, it dawned on me that I had to step, into the position to lead in the party. And I became the chairperson of our party in the state. And in between that, till when we held our primaries, it has been an issue of who will represent our party at the Dubai elections. And what it is that we're not in a hurry to just put any money bag or anybody, who probably meets society status. What it was for us is someone who understands what the party stands for in terms of integrity, in terms of ideology. And as you can see, I became that person.
There you go.
We did the primaries. I was voted for by delegates, and here we are.
Here we are. I just wanted to put that background out there so people understand the build-up to this moment. You're the only female in the running now for governor in Anambra State. But I want you to speak to the issues now, because there's a lot of work to do when it comes to governance in Nigeria, and particularly in Anambra State as it is in other states. So just speak to this issue. What are the things that for you, the current governor, Chukwuma Soludo, has not done right and you want to fix?
Okay. So for me, it started with the pace. They were so slow. You think with the rigorous campaign they ran and the manifesto that they'll just hit the ground running. But they hit the ground and it was as if they were learning on the job. It was as if they were not prepared. It was as if they were building up agenda when they should be executing the plan. And governance is such a place that you need to get on ground and start working immediately because people's lives depend on it. But we didn't see that. The next one was in security. They failed woefully. The current government, led by His Excellency, Professor Charles Soludo, failed woefully in the area of security. First, there were too many kidnappings, and then there were too many deaths. There was so much shed of innocent blood, which shouldn't have happened. We had the case of Honorable Justice Azuka, who was kidnapped last year and was murdered. We had the case of Madame Ife, the banker, who was killed in cold blood. So many uncountable cases. Clergymen, rich men, ordinary people kidnapped. How many of these cases did we see culprits? Did we see someone being held responsible to face the law? Who are we going to hold accountable for these lives lost? It's not enough to go around showing yourself, trying to say, I have a scorecard. The people of Anambra, they should be the one to score you. You don't go about scoring yourself. So based on this particular insecurity issue, he failed. He failed the very people that voted him. Because the priority of governance is securing lives and properties. That is the second. There's so many of it, but I'm just going to pick it one after the other. Also, there's a case of industrialization, power. The government once said that they are going into an agreement with EEDC for us to have constant power. We haven't seen constant power in Anambra State, and this has affected industries. This has affected manufacturers. And let's even go to the promise where he said he's going to make Anambra State a Dubai, Taiwan project. This is after 3 years. Governor, where is our Dubai, Taiwan? I mean, look at the capital. Does it look like something close to a mega city? You see hungry, stranded, frustrated people littered all over the place, beggars. Is that what a mega city should look like? You told us you want to turn Anambra State into a Dubai, Taiwan project. Where is that project?
All right, Joma, let's... Yes, I know there's a lot to say, but let's take it in bit. Now, let's talk core politics now.
Okay.
I know you mentioned it in passing, but first, when politicians are processing how to win election, before they talk money, they're looking for a sellable candidate. More sellable here means somebody popular enough that by first name mention, a lot of people will resonate. Have you been able to cross that hurdle? How many people know you in Anambra State in that sense, on that part? And there's an aspect of having a war chest. There's so many billionaires in Anambra. ABGA is almost an ancestral political party. It's held the sway and the reins of power for as long, in fact, it's the last surviving state when it comes to ABGA as a political party. As we speak, a couple of, the governor has gotten the ticket of the party and is ready for re-election. And there's a lot of war chests. When you talk about APC or ABGA itself as a ruling party or even PDP, these people come with a lot of war chests. So two things I would like you to speak to. The issue of how popular you are to be able to be remembered that, okay, this person, we want to vote for this person because we know this person, and the issue of war chest, because those are critical when it comes to winning any election. This is pure politics, not governance now.
Okay, so first I'd like to say that we're not intimidated by the Mughals. If you're rich, I respect you. I respect that you're able to make money. But this is beyond money. I may not be that known, like the governor is known, but there is something that I have the governor does not have, which is conscience, which is a better leadership skill, which is being able to speak to the conscience of the Anambras. I have that, and that is capacity. I have the ability to reach into the hearts, the fiber of our society and fix our people and put them right where they're supposed to be and give them good leadership. That is what they have to know.
My apologies, Choma. If you can hear me, so I'm saying you have all these great ideas and quality leadership, but if you have all these, they don't know you, it's like winking in the dark. So I'm actually technically asking you, how do you want to make yourself known?
I was going to get there.
All
We're going to run a campaign. Why are we running a campaign? We're running a campaign so they'll know me. It's always the first time. And they will know me because it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. And when they know me, they will never want to let me go. So yes, I'm confident that we're going to run a robust campaign and we're going to stamp my name, and African Action Congress in the hearts of the Anambra State, and they will never want to let us go. They'll practically walk with us into the government house to lead.
Interesting, Choma. I like your courage and your character. You bring presence to the campaign. And that is interesting. You know, we need more female representation. But I have two questions for you. Your party, AAC, is relatively unknown in Anambra State. Yes, the Orange Beret is becoming more popular because of the strides of your party leader, Omoyele Sowore. So are you riding on his popularity to getting some popularity, knowing that you cannot win the election in the first place? That's on the one hand. And on the second hand, should you win by chance, what would you do? Do you have an action plan to solve the challenge of insecurity and this phenomenon of unknown gunmen in Anambra State?
Okay, first I'd like to acknowledge the chairman of our party, the convener of the Take It Back movement, the voice of the voiceless, the president of the oppressed Nigerians, the president of Omoyele Sowore. And yes, would his support be needed? Most definitely. But am I 100% hoping or banking that he will come and do the job in Anambra State? No. We have a job to do, like I said earlier. We have a campaign. As long as I get a fair playing ground, like we don't get to see all those dirty politics, like trying to oppress, as long as we get a fair playing ground, I will nail it and I will win. And let's even talk about the plans I have. I have great plans from the Anambra State. First, you know, because this current government went about clamping down on traditional priests. We frown at that. That is an infringement. You don't go about telling people what to worship or how to worship. You don't do that. That is not leadership. So what you do is you could get out the bad eggs by, you know, making sure that you checkmate these organizations, but you don't go about attacking a particular group so much that they become, you don't lead by control. You don't lead by putting fear in the hearts of the people you're leading. So what that shows is another side of, you know, lack of leadership or lack of plans to actually get in. What we're going to do differently is economically boosting our society. When the economy is boosted by employing the youths of Anambra State, you'll find out that some of the people who do this traditional worshiping or any sort of religious worshiping or priesthood or all of that are doing that because they're actually hungry. That area has become a source of livelihood. But when you employ them, engage them duly, they will fizzle out. So economy solves some of these underground issues. And also in the areas of taxation. This current government is heavily taxing the Anambra. They tax women in the markets who are pushing wheelbarrows. They tax children who are hawking. Who does that? Taxing does not boost the economy. What boosts the economy is industrialization. And in the African Action Congress, led by my leadership, we're going to create more factories. We're going to have at least 2 companies in the state every year to foster employment.
Right. Just on a final note, it's quite interesting listening to you. There are those who see you and remember the controversy that you had with the pastor, some of the exposés you made, the back and forth. You know, some will recall, again, some of the things you said about awards and all of that. Because for an entertainer like you, normally there's a lot in the mix. So what do you have to say to those people who might want to see you from that angle and not see you as someone who might be fitting for that #1 seat in the state on a final? What do you want to say to them? Let's take this moment to address that.
Yeah, but you didn't say it clearly. I wanted to stay it out because this is actually something that's very important to me.
Is it a connection? Again. Is it a connection, or what you do?
You mentioned the pastor, or
yeah,
I'm sure
the controversies which you're aware of. I'm just saying, for those who still see you as that, what do you have to say to them?
This is my truth. And if for anything, this is also very important as a candidate, as the one person of Anambra State, I want young girls to be able to speak their truth. It does not matter what anybody thinks. What matters is who you are and who you get better to be. The way you put yourself out to be a better person, the steps you take, the discipline you put ahead of you. So this is a truth I'm holding on till forever. So it is not, these are two different things. The only time people want to bring it up is when we have actually really put pressure on them. Then they're going to bring it in form of a propaganda. And I expect it.
And you're ready for that?
And I'm not running away from it. I'm very ready.
There you go. The AAC governorship candidate for Anambra State, Choma Efemeludike, saying she's ready for it. So bring it on. We wish you the very best. This is obviously something that we're following all the way. So thank you so much for your time. See you on the field, as they say.
Thank you. Bye.
So that's a look at the upcoming election in Anambra State. But we'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll turn our attention to River State. It's been exactly 1 month. It was Tuesday last month. A state of emergency was declared and sole administrator announced for River State. How far so far? Stay with us.
Welcome back. So from Anambra to Rivers, as Kade said, it's been 1 month after the declaration of a state of emergency. But has there been any respite for Rivers State? Is there any pointer to a peace process being initiated? What we've seen is 1 day, 1 protest. Let's review activities in Rivers State as it impacts the future of that very important state in Nigeria. And joining us on this particular segment is Ms. Briggs. She's a human, political, environmental, and development rights activist, and she joins us via Zoom from Rivers State. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
And you are a very prominent voice from Rivers State, a member of the Rivers Elders Forum, I believe. So you have the back view and the backstory, we hope, of the events that have shaped politics in Rivers State in the last couple of years. It's been from one controversy to the other. First, we heard after the declaration of a state of emergency, the resignation of the head of service with reports about him being under duress, and he says is not. And now what we hear is a resignation of the chief magistrate in Rivers State. And he said, no, due to his conscience, he has to resign because he cannot, dance to the tune played by a military administrator, using the best description at this time. Is this the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob? What exactly is informing these significant events following the declaration of a state of emergency in the state?
Thank you very much. It really is exacerbated. It's tiring. For someone like me, for people in Rivers State, who really just want to get about their everyday normal activity, whatever that is. Since 2023 October, we have not had any rest in terms of what's being done to Rivers State, not what Governor Sim Fobara is doing to Rivers State, but what's being done to Rivers State by sons and daughters of Rivers State, some sons and daughters of Rivers State, and by their cohorts that are not Rivers people, that exacerbate our stress. It's just unbelievable as Nigerians and media people whose profession it is to follow activities, good or bad. It must be unbelievable as well for people who are not River State people. So one begins to wonder when we begin to discuss the issues of River State today, maybe 30 minutes on your program. One begins to wonder, where does one start to begin to explain it from the perspective of a Rivers person? You're showing women that are walking peacefully, placards, not unruly, young women, old women, pregnant women, daughters of River State. Now, this group of women, of which I also belong, are a group of women that pray. They are praying. Their first activity was that of praying. During the electioneering of 2023 for the then candidate Semelai Fobra, who then became the governor, it was a matter of prayers. But when the 2023 issue happened, the prayers became intensified. The gathering of the women in Adakaboro Park became intensified. Now, this is the first time these women, of which I am one, I was not here with them because I was out of Port Harcourt, but this particular one is the first time these women have come out. And it was just a brief walk, and they were tear gassed. As a reaction to this walk, the women in white came out. They were not tear gassed. They were escorted by police. And yet when these women in black requested for the police to escort them, if you like, they were refused. Instead, they were tear gassed. At Imbiama Junction, a few days later, women were tear gassed. At Omuma, after after Ibas had unconstitutionally set up local government chairmen, as he calls them, there was another walk by this man in Omuma, and they were not tear gassed. And on Friday, Wednesday, I think, if you recall, you saw the women, it's the same women you're seeing in black now that are also the women that you saw in red. And these prayers go on every week, and they round up maybe once a month in a big praise and worship. And we came out in red. Now, we were not tear gassed, thanks to God. And that's because we were asking, were we going to be tear gassed by the same people that secured the women in white from whatever they were securing them from? Now, that is on the side. Then if you look at this mammoth crowd, they were all from, each and every one of them were from one of the 23 local government areas. They were not from Akwa Ibom, they were not from Abia, they were not from any other place but Rivers State. And I was in this prayer walk. We called it a prayer walk. Now, you recall, and you mentioned that the registrar, the chief magistrate, had resigned. Well, the gentleman said, and he told us why he resigned. Well, that is his right. That's a man that has conscience. And then we're having issues with NBA should return 300 million, NBA should not return 300 million. And yet in the past 8 years, we have calculated that donations have been made in the name of Rivers State to one state or the other for one reason or the other, to the tune of unaccountable, unimaginable, allegedly up to 1-point-something trillion of Rivers State people's money have been given away over a period of 8 years. The head of service resigned and went on air and was making allegations. Allegations are being made against the governor of Rivers State, because Ibas is not the governor of Rivers State. He is hoisted, imposed upon the people of Rivers State, and he remains imposed on the people of Rivers State. We didn't vote for him. We didn't campaign. The campaigns were not about him. He's from Cross River, maybe Cross River and Akwa Ibom put together. We do not want him in Rivers State. It's the president that brought him. Now, the issues are the circumstances, the reasons that were given why the president brought him, and the processes that confirmed him. Were they properly done? No, they were not. The National Assembly, as far as we're concerned, have lost credibility with the people of Rivers State, because when you do what you're not supposed to do in the name of doing what is right, and you've done what is wrong, you don't expect the people to support it. So we could go on and on, but I think I have actually drawn a picture that we can start off with.
Absolutely. So let's try to unpack first with the 300 million naira. Do the people of Rivers State want the money back, or the NBA can have it?
Yes, you see, I mean, the problem of the people of Rivers State today is not the 300 million that the governor, at the time he gave it to the people of Rivers State, gave it to the people of Rivers State. I've just told you, it's on record, that in the past 8 years, before 2023, it has been calculated, allegedly, that the previous government had given away to Sokoto State, when there was a fire, 500 million of our money was given to Sokoto State. We didn't say that it was all right for it to go to Sokoto State. Women in Lagos who were singing Hallelujah songs we're given 300 million. I don't think Lagos State is poor to the extent that Rivers State needed to go in and give them 300 million just because they sang Hallelujah. But so if Ibas is hell-bent on retrieving money, Rivers State people's money that has been given away by governors before Semelala Ifora, I think that he should start right from the beginning. And we're looking at 1999, if we're going to go that far back. So let's stop being, let politicians and people who are imposed on us stop being petty. We're not fools. They should stop being petty. Let us face the reality that Rivers people are facing. Today, we are asking, and we demand to know this, what really is the problem? Look, you cannot bring peace between people who have a disagreement if you don't know what they're disagreeing about. What exactly is the disagreement about? What is structure? Rivers people keep asking what exactly is a structure that must be kept for somebody who is no longer in government. And so we have Ibas sitting in government house in Rivers State. He's handling Rivers State's money, and we don't know how much money he owns as a person. He should declare his assets. Until he leaves, we should know how much money he himself owns personally. And secondly, he should tell us how much money he has collected from the federal government since he came into Rivers State. These are really germane and genuine questions that if you don't mind, if I may butt in, the women are asking.
Let's build on the things, on what you raised, and for me, which is a bigger concern. Part of what was gazetted or transmitted to the National Assembly, which they amended, was, for me, which was the most critical, has to do with bringing all sides to the table to discuss the way forward. As you said, to be very fair, from what we know, the only people that know why they are fighting is Governor Siminala Ifubara and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. Only both of them know clearly exactly what this battle is all about. So part of what was recommended was that while the emergency rule is on, let's see how they can bring both sides to the table, bring prominent persons. I'm sure Rivers elders will be involved in all of that. So my first question will be, 1 month after, we've been hearing fireworks of accusation, counter-accusation. We've heard everything else apart from that committee being set up to see how the warring factions can reconcile. Has PANDEF or Rivers Elders Council been approached in any shape or form to say, we want to begin the process of reconciliation so that this emergency can be called off, or one thing or the other?
PANDEF, I'm an ESCO official member in my state, also a member of the BOT in PANDEF. So I'm very solid in PANDEF. I am not aware so far that anybody in that the PANDEF leadership has been approached. That does not mean that PANDEF is not working. PANDEF has been working before the death of our leader, our revered father, late Chief E.K. Clark, and they are still working. But I am not aware, and I am sure that I will be aware once there is an approach and once there is an acceptance of that approach. That's one. Two, I'm not aware that my group that I belong to, because we also have elders group that are purely, that are PDP members that are supporters of the former governor of Rivers State. Why do I say so? Because they say that they are supporters of the former governor of Rivers State, the FCT minister. I'm not aware that my group, led by former Governor Chief Ada George, an elder statesman, and so many other credible people from Rivers State are in that group. I don't think that we've been approached. If Rivers people are not represented collectively and their views are not represented, Ikure people should be involved. Ogoni people who should be involved. Ekpeye people should be involved, because we are all Rivers people. And what is going on is affecting all of us from the top of our head to the sole of our feet, in every way you can think about it, whether in feeding, in marketing, in whatever we do, we are terribly affected by what is happening. People's BP are high. It's affecting people's health. So we have to be involved. Let nobody think that the National Assembly, in whom we have lost confidence because of the way and manner in which they went about assenting to the imposition of IBAS on the people of Rivers State. They should not have, he should not have been sworn in before he was confirmed by the National Assembly, which was not done. And the National Assembly should never, there is no place in the Constitution that allows them to do a voice vote on this matter. It's about 2/3 of the people who were there that voted. And so when you put all of this into consideration, we, the people of Rivers State, the majority of the people of Rivers State, the innocent people of Rivers State, believe that we've been handed the very short end of the stick by no fault of our own. We don't deserve this. This is between two people that one is claiming that they had an agreement. Fine, people have agreements every day. Marriage is about agreement. Relationship is about agreement. What we're asking is, what agreement did you have? What agreement did you have? Did you have a financial agreement? Did you have, what agreement did you have that is so devastating to the people of Rivers State? And this problem has come so far that we cannot be in the outside while other people shave our head behind our back. We must be in the room. We must be in the room when they are discussing. We have to know what brought us to this point so that in the future it won't happen again.
And it's an important question to ask. And one wonders, you know, where we have this brick walls here and there, what the way forward really would be. You know, when you consider that when Rivers Elders Council is meeting, there's one group on the one hand loyal to Governor Sim Fubara or against the emergency process. When Governor Wike is, you know, showing up in Rivers, there's another group of leaders of Rivers State, you know, who are queuing up behind him. So what are the back channels being explored to bring both parties to the table such that there can be peace in Rivers? And are you confident in the PDP Governors Forum decision to challenge this emergency rule in the Supreme Court? Those two issues, please address as we wind down.
Thank you. First of all, the fact or the notion that anything could be done about what we're going through without it being, one, done properly, constitutionally, and two, without the involvement of the voices of the people is again not going to be accepted. We will not accept that. Now, as I keep repeating on your program now, that we don't have confidence in the National Assembly. Now, the IBAS cannot appoint, he has no right to appoint local government chairman or whatever he chooses to identify them as. Why do I say this? Because even the governor is the only person that is allowed to conduct an election. And you cannot give a position of local government chairman, the law says so, without an election. So those local government chairmen that he has appointed in whatever reason or form are illegal. And now the question we are asking is that Similar Ifobra, the governor of Rivers State, when he comes back, and he is going to come back, because I can't imagine him not coming back, when he comes back, is he going to be able to remove those people? Because we, the people of those local governments, will insist that he removes them because we didn't vote for them. So that's, I think I've answered that question. Number two, of the second part of your question still remains that the people of Rivers State want to know. It must be known. It sounds a repetition, but that's where we are. We must be part of that process. The National Assembly cannot have a discussion with only Similar Ifobra and Nyesom Wike and IBAS under the table in one state or the other, whether it's Calabar or Lagos or wherever, without the people of Rivers State being involved in that discussion. We must have our representatives in that discussion. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere. I do understand that people say this is political. Well, it is political, but you see, in politics, politics is not living and breathing. It is the people of Rivers State that are living and breathing, and we must be involved in this process.
All right, fair enough, and a fine place to anchor at this point. We must thank you very much. We've been speaking with Madam Ankyo Briggs. She's a human, political, environmental, and development rights activist and a member of the Rivers Elders Forum who has joined us on this very critical conversation. We hope that from here we'll have more pleasant things to tell about Rivers State in the future. Thank you, ma'am, for your time on the program.
Thank you very much, and have a good Easter.
Happy Easter to you too. And speaking of Easter, perhaps it's time to get you in the mood with the softer side of things on the morning brief right here on Channels Television. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
All right, welcome back. Let's go to the softer side of things. Let's talk to Oluwafemi Sanusi, who is a songwriter, singer, also a registered estate surveyor and valuer. So as I read that, I said, okay, we need an explainer here. How did we go from being an estate surveyor to a songwriter, musician, and all of that?
Okay, let me just say it's pretty much part of self-discovery, basically. You know, as humans, we keep evolving, and it's about gifts and talents, and we have so many, and we just keep, I mean, you know, discovering them as we live. So
are you still doing your estate surveying business?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, is that a cash cow, or songwriting is just by the corner? What exactly? How do you, is it 50-50, 70-30?
I'll just
say... You want to walk into your finances, don't mind.
Okay, yeah, well, I think you have an idea of what the real estate part will be about, but songwriting is basically an expression of my inner person. So it's something I like to do. It's one of the things I like to do, to tell a story, talk about lessons, talk about life issues, basically. So that's what I do with songwriting.
So you write, you sing?
That's correct. That's
so you
correct.
have, how many records do you have now?
I have two songs out there on social media.
Conscious music, vibe?
Well, okay, the first
what
one...
appeals to you the most? Your song is there, we
Inspiration.
Can say.
Inspiration, yes. Inspiration is is major driver for me, because you have to be inspired, because it's not just about the sounds, it's about the quality of the words, because words have a lasting impression that they leave in the minds of people. So I'm always very deliberate about the kind of words that I use. It must inspire. So that's basically one of the things.
Okay, so let's talk about the whole process. I know as a surveyor, you are very detailed and accurate.
That's correct, that's correct.
How has that helped you in your craftsmanship as a musician? Because technically you're a musician here.
Yeah.
And so we have to address you as one.
Okay, well, one of the things is, by virtue of what I do, is about service. Meeting the needs of people, right? Meeting the needs, right? So songwriting is pretty much meeting the needs, the emotional needs of people. Because, I mean, a lot of people, we go through all kinds of things in life. Sometimes you just need that particular thing that inspires you. And music does that, okay? Music is one of that too that helps you to, that inspires you, even in difficult situations that that you can find yourself. So that's one of the things.
So let's talk about the reception. Since you started are you on any of the streaming platforms?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So how much of reception have you gotten?
Yeah, majorly for friends and families from the beginning, yes. Then I also try to, for new people, when they hear the song, I like to hear the feedbacks, what they think about the song, particularly the message of the song.
So what is going on in Nigeria now as it is? Has it inspired you to put together any song? Because there's a lot of challenge across the board. As we know, government cannot solve all the problems. We all have to come together to solve the problem. But the bulk, of course, is on the table of the government to solve this problem. So tell us, has Nigeria inspired you to write anything, or is the country inspiring you to write anything as we speak at the moment?
Okay, well, for me, I don't try to focus on the moment. I try to focus on the history, what has happened in the past, and I try to leverage on some of the good things that have happened historically. So I think for the song that I released last year, titled Ninja Spirit, I try to draw a lot of inspiration from the past, because when you talk about history, history is flowing from the past into the future. You know, so I try to draw a lot of inspiration from some of the good things that we have problems, no doubt. I mean, it's already a broken record, right? Everybody knows we have challenges, right? But I try to focus on some of the good things that we've achieved as a nation, and try to, incorporate that into the song that, that I wrote.
So, pending when my producer gives us your song, or perhaps, so you're going to sing it for us.
Okay.
So let's hear, which of them are you going to do now?
I'm going to sing Ninja Spirit.
Niger Spirit?
Yeah.
Is it Nigerian Spirit or Niger Spirit?
Niger Spirit, it's our way of abbreviating Nigeria.
I understand. I wanted to be sure, so that people who are looking for the song online will be able to know exactly what to find out.
It's Niger Spirit.
All right, so let's get it.
Okay, I'll just sing the chorus. We are unstoppable, we are unbeatable, never giving up at all. That's the Ninja Spirit. We are conquerors, always victorious, never giving up at all. That's the Ninja Spirit.
So your voice sounds different from the way you sing. Is that just a brilliant singer, like soprano?
Oh, okay.
So
thank you.
Let's talk about what you have in the works as we begin to wind down. What do you have in the works? As this is 2025. This is April, which is the first month in the second quarter of the year 2025. So what should we be looking out for in terms of your music?
Because nation building is very important to me because, you know, in nation building, it's both tangible efforts and intangible efforts. So music kind of aligns with the intangible part of nation building. And one of the things I want to try to do is that through this song, I just try to inspire us, you know, give us hope again, all right? I mean, we've heard of renewed hope. Give us hope, that expectation, because the younger generation, I mean, when you go around town, you hear a lot of them, you know, talk about, a lot of them are you know, they're giving up on their country, not just even their country, they're giving up on their dreams. So I hope that through the songs, I can, you know, try to inspire people to just believe again, basically.
All right, so we must thank you so much, but I must ask you this before we go. Your name, Oluwafemi Sanusi, so help us explain that.
Okay. Hey, well, of course, this is my surname. Okay. All right.
Because when we hear Sanusi, for people like me who are not from the Southwest, I remember the Emir of Kano,
yeah, I get
and then Oluwafemi from the South. So how does that happen?
I get that a lot. I mean, well, I think that would be traced to my background, my ancestors. Okay. But Sanusi, like I said, is my surname. Okay. So I mean.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Oluwafemi Sanusi, songwriter, singer, estate surveyor, somebody who is quite passionate about the United Nigeria. Thank you for coming on the program.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. Now, when we come back, we'll switch gears. This time, we're going to talk to a young boy who is a traditional title holder in just a moment. So it's going to be one moment that will capture your attention. So stay with us right here on the program. We'll be right back.
And I told you earlier that we're about to set you in the Easter mood, and we're doing that with young people. Now, I don't mean young people within the Nigerian context. Now, I'm talking about our children. Now, there's nothing that better unites us than our diversity. As we say, there's unity in diversity. And some children here with us today are our cultural ambassador, uniting us through music and culture. Join us, let's welcome Adebayo Olamilekan. He's the youngest known traditional title holder in Nigeria. He's the Odo Agbeashaga of Osolu Kingdom, conferred on him in Ibejuleki by the traditional ruler in Ibejuleki. We also have a young 10-year-old, to be precise, Oluwatimileyin Oyedokun. His stage name is Andre Firelight. He's a 10-year-old violinist. So we're going to serenade you as well as give you some bits of culture this morning on the program. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Morning Brief. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm very well. And
yes,
you?
good to have you on the show. And I don't want to call you Olamilekan. I'd like to call you by your traditional title, Odo Agbeashaga. Welcome, sir, to the program.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you, Andrew. Tell us about how you learned to play the violin.
Well, I watched violinists on the TV. So sometimes I go to the kitchen and carry my mom's cooking spoon and fork and start using it as a violin. And I disturbed my mom to buy me a violin. So that's how I started learning the violin. I started learning the violin from my primary school.
And that was, how old were you then?
Then?
I was 3 years. 3 years.
Okay, so you've been playing for 7 years.
That's right.
So, pardon me, I don't know if this applies to the violin. How many songs have you scored on the violin?
Yeah, it does.
Songs, countless songs.
Okay. So, which one are you going to play for us today?
You Raise Me Up.
You Raise Me Up.
Christ Alone, Ancient Words.
Okay.
He has a whole playlist for us on this show today. Well, let's come to Chief.
Yeah, Chief.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
How does it feel to be a traditional title holder? Because even a lot of big people don't have traditional title. But you're 9 years old, am I correct?
Yes.
And you already have a traditional title and you look the part. How does it feel?
When people greet me that I'm a traditional title holder, I feel happy because I am the first in history of Nigeria and Africa. I am the first kid to become the youngest traditional title holder at a tender age of 5 years old. So when you see me, you say Carol Leo.
Ah, what does that mean, Carol Leo?
Yes, that is how they greet the
traditional
chief,
title
yes,
holders.
Yes, the traditional title holders.
Okay, let me explain
chiefs.
to our audience what it means. Carol in Yoruba means strength to you. May there be strength for your body. That's what it means, but you can go on.
So, my name is Chief Adebayo Olamilekon Israel Yanoluwa, popularly known as Chief Adigunolu Yoruba, the Ojo Agbiashaga of Sanlo-Alade Kingdom, Ibejuleki, Lagos State. Whenever people call me Chief, I feel happy.
Ah, thank you, Chief.
So, Karaoleo, Chief, now you have a repository of Yoruba proverbs. Tell us how this started for you.
Well, one day, I was the age of 3 years. So then, my dad and my mom was arguing with something. So my dad said a Yoruba proverb. So then, after that, I go to him back. I said, what you said before, I know it. So maybe like 6 months later, my daddy see that I have the ability to carry something on my brain. So then he wrote many Yoruba proverbs for me to be learning. So after that, gradually I become a...
You became...
Yes.
You mastered
yes.
it. You were able to, say a number of proverbs.
Yes.
Okay, so how many are you going to share with us today? You can start with one and then, we'll combine it with some music.
Okay. Let me just start. Lówe lówe là ń lùlù àgídìgbò, ọlọ́gbọ́n ló ń jó, ọ̀mọ̀ràn ló ń mọ̀. Ewé kókò la fi ṣàwọ̀ rẹ̀, igi gọmugọmu la fi ń lù. Afọ́jú ní ìlú, àdìtí ní ilé oríṣi, ìlọ̀run sì gbọ́dọ̀ yá. Àgídìgbò drum speaks proverb. The wise dance to it and the slaves translate it. The skin is made with cocoyam leaf. The blind beat the drum and the deaf sing to it, and the drum was not here. We need wisdom to comprehend. Ìpínàṣẹ ní Palaruka, the protective mystical force of an innocent. We kill whoever speaks ill about it. Whoever spreads scandal about an innocent person will answer to the powers of the universe. Orí olúkàn bí kìí gẹṣin, ìpín àjàpá kìí ṣọ̀ṣọ́, àsùlẹ̀kẹ̀ máhun lọ́rùn, àwọn wọgbó. Olúkànbí's destiny does not include riding a horse. The tortoise's fate is never to know splendor. People adorn the tortoise's neck with bead and its head for the bush. If one gives something to people incapable of recognizing value, they will definitely and instantly ruin it. Bí ilẹ̀ bá ń gbé òṣìkà tí kò gbé olóòótọ́, ohun rere á máa sun ní í ṣe. If the land favor the wicked as the ensprints of the righteous, one will get tired of doing good. Ìjàkùmọ̀ kì í rìdí ọ̀sán, ẹni abíire ò kì í rìdí òru. A white cat does not roam in daylight, and a road person was not wander around in the night time. Avoid questionable actions if you care about reputations.
Wow. Andre and Chief Adigu combining to do great stuff. Andre, first off, Amazing work you just did. We just thought to combine what you're doing together. He, culture, tradition, you with music, never mind that it's, you know, classical in that sense, but it shows what we can do together. How tough is it to learn and play the violin? Because I have tried. I can say from my experience, but how tough is it really?
It's not really that tough.
Come on. No, I feel bad. It's not tough.
Tell me about it. I can't play, so I see it as tough.
Because it doesn't have frets like a guitar. You know, the guitar would have frets, so you are still able to know where to place your fingers. But this is fretless, but you still know where to place your fingers. So really, how do you say it's not that tough? Are you whining me, Andre? Tell me about it. How do you figure out where to place your fingers, how to... It's not called strumming, so walk us through the process of playing the violin.
Well, I started with my tonic solfas.
Right.
So then my music teacher started telling me where to place my fingers.
Okay, can you show us? Can you teach me? Because I think this is my chance to learn the violin now. So how do you do the tonic solfa for violin now?
So there are different keys.
Right.
From A to G.
Ah, yeah.
So I'm playing on G right now.
So you can play on all the keys?
No, not really all the keys.
But the fact that you can even play it alone is amazing. So show us on that.
This is on G.
Right.
This is on G. This is key G.
Right.
So here is the Do I'm about to play.
Okay.
This is Do. So if I want to play my Re, I open, my fingers are out.
Oh.
And I play my
Ah,
then if I want to play my Mi, I put my finger on the third string.
Yeah.
Close, almost at the edge, almost at the end of the third string.
I see why you say it's not hard.
Then my Fa will be close to the Mi.
Ah. And then you keep going until you master it.
Yes.
Do you take classes? How do I register for a class?
I take it.
I mean, can you train me? Is what I mean. Can I register to be trained by you? We'll talk after the show. Bukola.
Well, the fact that he's able to navigate the keys is still a miracle to me.
Yeah.
For you, Adigo, Chief Adigo, pardon me, I like the seriousness with which you approach your duty as a traditional title holder, and it shows in even, you know, how you carry yourself. Tell us, Adigo, how, Chief Adigo, pardon me, how do you see yourself in future? Do you want to continue as a culture, you know, ambassador, or you have other, you know, ideas? And what is mommy and daddy saying about what they want you to be in future?
Well, I see myself in a big place in future. So my dad and my mom, even though me, I want to be a professor. Yes.
Professor Chief Adigun. That'll be lovely.
Teaching people to go and learn their cultures. And I want to stand in front of the white people and teach them Yoruba cultures.
Andre,
amazing.
Final words. What you plan for the future as we wind down?
I see myself in making the world a better place.
I love that. I love that. Gentlemen, we have to thank you so much. It's been a beautiful moment with you. And I mean, you are not just the future, you are the present of Nigeria. So wish you the very best. Chief Adigun Olowe Yoruba, Adebayo Lamilekon, youngest title holder at that time in Nigeria, 5 years old.
9-year-old now.
Now is 9 years old. And Oluwatimileyin Oyedokun, stage name Andre Firelight. Thank you so much for your time as well. So Jeffrey is here with some of the responses to the messages, or at least that message that we put out earlier on about Nigerians telling us, how much of power do you get? Are you part of the 150 million Nigerians that the minister said have access to power? Well, Jeffrey, I don't envy you right now. So walk us through some of those comments.
Well, the minister has made a claim. Well, people are responding. We actually told the people to send... We actually told the people to send their messages to us and whether they really have power, as the minister has claimed. So these are some of your responses. Let's get to Funke. Coincidentally, Bukola Funke is sending a message on WhatsApp from London, so maybe while she was in Nigeria. Okay, Mr. Minister said the time of not paying enough for electricity has passed. I can't remember that time, but right now we're in Band A, but we never have light for days. What do you want to say to that? This is even worse in Oshogbo for weeks. There will be no electricity in my area. We also have Charles. Sending message from Ibejuleki saying, no, nice question, okay? I live in Ibejuleki area of Lagos for the past 3 weeks. Now no light in our area. We also have Sean Peters from Abuja. Good day, Channels TV. The power situation is deteriorating here in Sunnyvale, I guess, Lokogoma in Abuja. We also have coming in from Charles Freeman from Nasarawa State. So the power situation in my area is quite commendable. We can boast of 18 hours light in a day. The challenge we face is rain or wind. Whenever that happens, the power gets interrupted for a while. And then we have from, okay, this is Marvin from Port Harcourt. Marvin is saying, there was no light for 3 weeks in my area. Just got light 2 days ago, and it's not even, I was using a full current. Bro, it's been long I heard that, guys.
So we call it low voltage, right?
Low voltage, I guess. This is from Victor from Lekki Phase 1. I live in Lekki Phase 1, Band A clients who do not get adequate supply because the last mile equipment goes bad most time, hardly get 10 hours light when the transformer is okay. Sometime last month, we had 0 light for 3 weeks. We have spent millions on solar energy and diesel gen and diesel oil. It's been crazy. Between prepaid meter budget is over 300K a month. Even with solar, it's so expensive. So those are the thoughts of the people. Quite, so Mr. Minister, this is real feedback. I don't know where you got your 150 million. Maybe it's in another country.
No. This is just a drop in the ocean compared to 150 million. So perhaps we should, keep doing this feedback,
yes.
Asking people to sending their thoughts.
Absolutely.
And such that we can, present them to Mr. Minister to see how far indeed is so far as power supply is concerned.
I think it's time we have Mr. Minister on this show. Yeah. Let's have some questions. I'm in Band A, Mr. Minister, so you need to answer questions. Why did you migrate me without my consent?
Aren't we all at this point, really? It's just,
anyway, we wanted to say before we go, according to Shola Shele, our judiciary correspondent, she was literally harassed yesterday by some people. We'll talk about it maybe on the other edition of the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Zonga. Bye-bye.
We'll be back again on Monday. Do you have yourselves a wonderful Easter celebration?
Oh, yes.
Bukola Koka.
Have a good Friday, a fantastic Easter Monday, and Easter Sunday as well. Goodbye. I'm Kayode Okikili.